ever. Another 1 hour float. Like I was saying earlier, I did it at 7:30 at night, so it was still light outside. Did the hour float, then came back outside, and boom, nighttime. Again, similar effect to where when I fell asleep and woke up in the tank, I was not groggy. I didn't feel tired or anything. I almost had the sense of energy, and most certainly relaxed. I played around a lot more than I did last time with my hand position being overhead. Tried that for a little bit, but even so, with the dense salt water, or Epsom salt, and the ability to float, and me letting go of my body and just floating, it's still slightly, just a tad bit uncomfortable, mainly because I'm extremely tight in the front part of my body rather than the back part. So the easiest position for me to be in is essentially have my arms like this to my side. And it was pretty interesting. I gotta wait. Sorry, I'm just about to cross this light. And I stopped my thought because of that. But it is pretty interesting. For the first time, I didn't have this last time when I did it, but I did experience a little bit of a sensation where I could potentially see myself laying upright vertical rather than laying down. I shouldn't say laying down upright vertical. I should say being up vertical rather than laying down. Quite a different sensation, that is for sure. And again, that's just going to be tied into this feeling of floating, the feeling of not feeling the water. It blends in with your skin, having no surroundings whatsoever when when the water's not actually carrying you to the edges of the tub. And that's just going to be dictated as far as when you first put your back into the water and you have little movements around, that's going to cause the water to move a little bit in the tub, or the tank, I should say, not really tub. And then you'll occasionally brisk up against the walls of the tank. But yes, quite the sensation, more than I noticed last time, which is neat. I even played a little bit around with seeing how hard it is really to drown, you could say, or just get yourself underwater, and it's quite hard. Even just putting your hand underwater, it right away wants to come straight back up, just because of how dense the water is. It's like Jello to a certain point. Like, yeah, you can push down on the water and it feels like normal water, but then it comes right back up. And just from laying there, from a laying standpoint and floating, and your mind drifts off for just in a minute or two without moving, you just get this feeling of like, wow, I'm laying in Jello, it seems like, without the shakiness, without any of the distractions when you're laying in Jello. That's for sure. So I think sometime tomorrow I'll try and recount more of what I thought about, what I saw. There was a point where I was not relaxed to the point where I was going to drift off to sleep, but my mind was racing a little bit. But then it calmed down, but I wasn't tired to the point where I wanted to have my eyes closed. So I actually just had my eyes open and essentially stared at the inside of the tank, which is completely dark. And it's kind of funny what your mind sees from there. And as my eyes were like in a phase where they're focusing, but they're also drifting off a little bit, I started noticing this purplish color, and it wasn't like a bright beam like you have in the background right there. Perfect timing with that thought. Oh, doesn't get better than that. It was purplish. I just want to call it a purplish tingly color. It wasn't like an extremely, it wasn't like an extremely welcoming color, but it wasn't like a fearful color either. I would call it like a neon, almost purple magenta color. And it was like, I don't even know how to describe the shapes that I was seeing. But purple magenta neon color with flakes. I guess it'd be flakes of light. How about that? Flakes of light that were shifting around, and they were just brief images I could see for 5-10 seconds at a time, and it's almost like I lost focus of it. But I think that is a skill that one can develop more on retaining and focusing in more on what they're seeing. So I plan on continuing to note and observe that, because that was particularly interesting when I first noticed and was seeing all of that happen and play out. I would say also to add, time frame wise, as far as how long I was in the tank before I actually drifted off into sleep, I would say it was about similar time, possibly. And the reason I'm not exactly sure is because the first time I did it, it was a new experience, so time in itself probably flew much faster, I want to say, because I was noticing all these different things, and it was a new experience altogether. But the second time doing it, obviously it's still a new experience, but I was just more honed in and toned into all the little different details I didn't pick up before. And I would like to say I probably went 15 to almost 20 minutes probably of thinking more in detail than I did last time I did it, just because I was more focused in on this as being more of a new experience, not necessarily knowing like all the little things you pick up on when you're in the tank. So I'd say I followed a similar pattern of 15 to 20, maybe even 25 minutes of being conscious to a degree, not fully sleeping yet, to then being in full-blown sleeping and then waking up to the music. And I still don't gotta think about that, how does that work? But it's funny to me because you wear earplugs to block out the Epsom salt when you have your head halfway in the water. You hear music to wake you up, and the headpieces, the earplugs you put in, do a really good job of taking out all the noise. So all you really hear and you're in tune with is your breathing and any noises that your body makes. So like you swallow, do a gulp, you hear that gulp. It's amplified. It's quite interesting for sure. One more thing I want to add before I finish off here, so I'm going to cut this off, or else I'll just continually talk, and I don't want to do that right now, is coming out. It's funny, I've heard this comparison before, but you can make a comparison of coming out of a sensory deprivation tank, mimicking being in the womb of your mother. In the womb of your mother, you're limited to different senses you take in. So in the sense of the sensory deprivation tank, you're limited to seeing absolutely nothing, just being the darkness, and hearing absolutely nothing except your breath inside portions of your body, being gulping or gargling or any noise your stomach makes, kind of thing. And you can hear it slightly, just a little splash if you really want to make splashy noise, but that's not going to happen. So really it just gives you an appreciation to, or maybe taking something for granted, being your senses, your sense cues, what you see, whether it be visually, audibly, feeling wise, those things. So when you come out of the sensory deprivation tank, it's almost like you get a heightened amplitude of the senses you just restricted yourself from. So it's just an interesting thought in itself. Anyways, cut it off right now. DailyXander number 1-8. That's 5 plus 3. 0 in the books. Peace, love, unity, and respect. Catch you in the next installment. I will come back at you tomorrow with the day after, thinking thoughts on my second float experience. And then also I have a meeting tomorrow with marketing dude for a online marketing agency, I want to say. I still don't know the full details on how to describe it, but I'll see what I get from it and get back to you on that. Catch you in the next installment. As always, keep looking pithy.